everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jen. I am ndgen04 on Instagram, Blue Sky, Ravelry, all the places. And you are watching volume 5 of the Scrappy Blanket Diaries, where I have been journaling my way through as I've been trying to finish up some of my Scrappy Blanket projects that I have on the hook and on the needles. So thank you very much for clicking through and joining me over here. For those who are coming back, thank you for continuing to come back. And for those who are spreading the word and sharing, big heartfelt thank you as well. I know Boston Jen over on the Down Cellar Studio podcast gave a shout out. So if you're coming here from her recommendation, thank you, Jen, and thank you for taking that time, to check out the channel. Speaking of Boston Jen and the Down Cellar Studio podcast, as you know, if you've been following along, the Pigskin Party, which is the 5-month-long make-along that Jen hosts over in her community, has been my motivator for continuing to make progress and get Aurora's blanket finished. And we are 1 week. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025, and we are exactly 1 week from the end of that make-along, when all of our projects have to be wrapped up and tallied up for those internet points and entry for prizes and all of the things. And so I thought it'd be fun for this episode, like I did a couple episodes ago, to take you along in this week-long push to get this project finished. So, to keep the football analogy alive, it's the fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. We're down by a touchdown and we're making our way down the field to try to, score that winning touchdown to get us to victory there. So maybe we're down by less than a touchdown. So if we score the touchdown, we do the win. You know the things. Anyway, we're in the home stretch, as it were, for this project and for the make-along. And I am very excited to give you my weekly update here on this Monday and then take you along for the remainder of the week as we try to finish up this blanket. So first, the whole knitter thing on YouTube before we keep going, I suppose, Musselburgh hat. This is the one by Legacy, or the pattern is by Isolde Teague. The yarn is by Legacy Fiber Arts. I believe I've worn this one before on the channel. And then this sweater is the Wavelength by Tina Say. And the main color is La Bien-Aimée in the Autumn and Rhinebeck colorway. And the contrast color is Neighborhood Fiber Company in Observatory Circle. So it's a DK weight, circular yoke, color work sweater. There's even some messages. This one says love, and this one says live. And I just love this sweater, and I live in this sweater throughout the winter. We had some snow overnight here in New England. The kids had a delayed opening, which just threw Monday into complete chaos, but it is now lunchtime. Trying to take a breath, reset, chat with you all for a little bit, and then get on with the day and the week. So where are we in terms of our update? So I think last week, I had set, considering where I'd been over the last several weeks, what I thought was a pretty lofty goal in terms of the number of squares I wanted to crochet. So if you're new, this is the Scrappy crochet blanket that I'm making for one of my daughters. I'm doing a solid granny square in the middle, and then I'm doing a continuous join as you go with various contrast colors in each row. Aurora would like this blanket to be 14 squares wide by 21 rows long for a grand total of 294 squares. So where I left you last week, I had finished 214 squares and I had attached 196 squares, or 14 rows. And I said I wanted to crochet another 50 squares because I needed 80 over the course of 2 weeks, and I wanted to get ahead of that 40 per week average. And I am very pleased to say, thanks to a number of marathon meetings and a continuing education webinar that I had to catch up on before month end, I was able to complete 60 squares last week, bringing my total to 274, which means I only need to crochet 20 squares over the course of the next week. And I attached an additional 3 rows, so that was 238 total squares attached in terms of full rows. And I actually have, well, I'm throwing the yarn ball all over the place here. I actually have 2 squares of the next row already attached, and I had a few more done. I think I had like 5 or 6 attached last night, but I got to this particular row here is what I would call Aurora's anchor row. It's the one where she's very particular about which colors are in this row. So this is, this is that row for her. And the color that I was attaching for that row, this row, it didn't fit in with the other ones. It wasn't this highly variegated. It wasn't these bright colors. Not to say it wasn't beautiful. It was all of the yarns that I have here are very beautiful in their own way, but it just wasn't, I knew it wasn't the way she wanted it to be. So I said, you know, before I keep going, let me just stop. And so this morning, thanks to the delayed opening, we had some extra time, and I laid out the blanket on the floor and I had her lay out the squares how she wanted them, and then made sure that I had them in the right order on my little crochet hooks here. So this one only has the 12 squares, and it is now in the right order so that that square for that particular column is right. And then this is the next row already set up to go so that I can just keep moving along with attaching the rows. So like I said, if we're keeping score here, I have 20 squares left to crochet, and I have 4 full rows left to crochet onto the blanket. Now here's the other piece that has to get done as well, and that is the weaving in of the ends. So for the Down Cellar Studio Pigskin Party, you earn points by finishing projects, and then you get so many points for each 100 yards that you make. So it's loosely based on, you know, different statistics in football, right? 100 yards is the football field, that's a touchdown, you know, that kind of stuff. The good thing is Jen and her team set up Google Forms and spreadsheets. You don't have to do all the math and calculating. It does it for you. You also get extra points for using sponsor yarns or patterns or notions, bags, stitch markers, that kind of thing. And then there's the blitz. And so if you make a project, knit or crochet, and I think weaving and spinning as well, but I'll link Jen's website where all the rules are over there. You also, if you make a project that's over 1,000 yards, you also get blitz points. But the deal with the blitz is you have to have the ends woven in. So in addition to the 20 squares and the 4 rows, which completely manageable over the course of the week, I also have to get moving on weaving in the ends. So yeah, I've got a lot of weaving in ahead of me, but again, I think all told, it is doable. So some things I did to set up myself for success. I've got my Stitch by Jessa Lou bag here with the squares. So once I get at least 14, that's when I have Aurora figure out the rows. So I've got rows, let's see, 18 and 19. So I need 2 more rows worth of putting those in order there. And then I have a box here that I had been keeping all the minis in, and these are the minis that are left to go. And there's 20 of them in here that are left to go for the new squares that I need to crochet up. So I've got all my stuff in order. I have plenty of time. You know, life can throw us curveballs, or I guess that's a baseball metaphor, maybe an interception. Life can throw us for a loop, of course, but I'm feeling good about what I have left to do and getting it done in time for the Pigskin Party. So I hope you will watch. I mean, for you, it's all be edited together, right? You don't have to wait too long, but I will take you along on this little week in the life in trying to get this project finished. So thank you again for joining me, and let's see how this week goes. Hello everyone, good morning. It is Tuesday morning, the 4th of February, 2025. The kids just got on the bus. I still have my hat and not a cowl this time. It's actually a shawl. I don't wear shawls very often or knit shawls very often, but this is the shawlography. It was the mystery knit along with Stephen West 4 years ago. I don't know. I'll put it on the I'll put it on the screen. It is the one and only time I did the Cowl with Stephen West, and I used a bunch of yarns that I had in my collection from Suburban Stitcher, Kenyarn, Teal Torch, and I think there's some Lola Bean in there as well. And then this hat is an oldie but a goodie. I knitted this hat probably 10 or 11 years ago. It is the Straight as an Arrow by Fatima Hines. I think the yarn is Unwind Yarn Company. I know Dana hasn't been dyeing for quite some time, but I had a lot of her yarn over the years. So anyway, you know, still trying to keep warm this morning off the bus. Let me turn you around and show you a quick update where I am with Aurora's blanket. So where I left you yesterday, I had just 2 squares attached. Is this the right way? Where am I? Which way am I going here? Yes, I had, right? Does that sound right? I guess so. Yeah, I had 2 squares attached of this row. And so I finished all of the attaching and all of the in-between joining for row number 18. So I've got 3 more rows to go to attach. I did not get any individual squares done, so I still have my 20 minis in here that I have to work my way through. But I think today the plan is that I am going to continue attaching. So Aurora did plan out the next row. She did that for me yesterday when she was fixing that other row that I attached yesterday, and I have the next row ready to go. So I think I'm going to attach these, maybe work on some squares today, and then I also need to get going on weaving in ends. So I'm going to stop chatting because I still have about 30 minutes before I have to sign into work, and that I can get a big chunk done. So, well, let's get going. alarm went off to tell me it's time for work. And I am 10 squares into this attaching row. I've got 4 more to join. So not too shabby for a quiet morning's work. Also, we should all start the day buried in beautiful yarn, don't you think? I think so. So anyway, off to work. Good morning, everybody. I know I haven't talked to the camera much in the last couple days because, my goodness, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. We had a snow day yesterday. Carlos and I were working from home. The kids were home, and it was just a chaotic day at work. So I didn't actually get a lot done on my blanket yesterday, and even on Wednesday. I have been focusing on weaving in ends. So there's where ends have been woven in. Here's where I'm working on now. Not really doing it in any kind of order, just kind of wherever the blanket lands on my lap and there's ends to be woven in, and I just kind of pick some squares and work my way through. That's what I've done so far since the bus stop this morning. It is Friday morning, the 7th of February, and we've got Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, well, plus the rest of today left to go. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, technically 4 days left to go. And yeah, lots and lots of ends. So that's where I'm focusing my energy this morning, just because that's what I've got the brain space for. I still do have, I don't think I've crocheted any squares so far this week. And this basket has gotten to be a little bit of a jumble of stuff there. But I suppose I should put the camera down and actually get to weaving in the ends. Hello everyone, it is just after noon on Sunday the 9th of February, Super Bowl Sunday here in the US. The kids are outside playing in the snow with Carlos. We got quite a bit of snow overnight last night, so they are enjoying that while I take a few minutes to just catch my breath and sit, 1, snuggled up under this beautiful blanket, and 2, I'm proud to say I am on the last row of this blanket. So I've got 5 of the 14 squares here. Here is my box of minis left to go that I had set aside for the blanket. And yeah, I'm feeling really good so far. If I could get the next 9 squares done over the course of this afternoon, and then maybe this evening while we're watching the game, I will attach that last row. I kept track last night because I just did attaching last night when I was when we were watching TV. And actually, where is it? It's this row here is the final row. It took me, I would say all told, it took me a couple of hours to attach the row, and I still do have a lot of ends to weave in, but I also have all day tomorrow too. So I'm in a good place. If I can get the squares done so that Aurora can tell me the order, I'll be in a good spot. So I should probably stop chatting with the camera here and get to crocheting. All right, just about an hour later, we've got 11 squares. I've got 3 squares left to go, but I'm going to take a break. I don't want to push my hands too hard knowing I've got still all the attaching and lots of ends to weave in left to go the rest of today into tomorrow. So we're gonna stop here for a little bit and I'll come back in a little while. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, the 10th of February, 2025. And I can say, as the Super Bowl was winding down last night, I finished attaching all the squares on this beautiful blanket. And now it's just weaving in all the ends. The good thing about the pigskin party is that Jen always gives us the day after to wrap up our projects, get all the finishing done, and enter our points. So I've still got a lot of ends to go, but I think I can get this done before the end of the day. And then I just have to do all the math to calculate my yardage and all the things. But the big prize is just getting this done, and then I can start working on Zelda's. So as I've been saying throughout this video all week, let me put down the camera and actually get to work. Hello everyone. This will be my final update for this volume of the Scrappy Blanket Diaries because, and I don't mean the final update of the Scrappy Blanket Diaries, but for this particular episode, I finished Aurora's blanket. I love it. It is so colorful and so random and yet so planned out. It is just perfect for Aurora. But yes, I did finish the blanket for the Pigskin party. So as I'm recording this, it is Tuesday morning, the 11th of February, 2025. The Pigskin party for the Down Cellar Studio podcast ended yesterday, Monday the 10th. And I had all my ends woven in and this beautiful blanket assembled. I had all the crocheting and assembly done on Sunday, and then yesterday was just spent frantically weaving in all of the remaining ends. In fact, when the girls got home from school, I was pretty much done at that point. I mean, I had one of those days at work where I could just have this on my lap, weaving in ends. I was also heavily involved in a project that I needed to step away from the computer every so often before my eyes were just completely glazed over. And so it just worked out beautifully. And when the girls came home and I showed Aurora and I held it up, she's like, "Mom, you missed one." Because there was, for some reason, there was an end that was in the front and not the back. I don't know, but I got them all the ends woven in, and the blanket is done. Aurora did have this as a layer on her bed last night. I will eventually wash the blanket just to give it, to freshen it up and wash it. Not blocking it by any stretch of the imagination, but just giving it a wash in the hand wash cycle in my washing machine. Spin it out really well and dry it. But I knew she would want to use it last night. She's been patiently waiting for this. Not as long as her sister's been waiting for hers, which we'll get to in a minute, but yeah, it is done. So I will pop up on the screen. I did a whole spreadsheet to try to figure out my yardage for this. And the only reason to calculate yardage really was for my Pigskin party points. And I'll probably do a whole video on how I actually calculated it and set up my spreadsheet and all of that. But all said and done, it was 4,551, I think 0.8. There was a decimal in there, but 4,551 yards of just beautiful, beautiful yarns. My leftovers, my countdown calendars, some full skeins for the borders, and just beautiful. I'll, of course, have shared some clips of the blanket fully laid out. Aurora did one of those, like, hold it up and unfurl it. We've done a few of those, as we've been making progress on it. And she did one final one last night before bed. But yeah, I am so, so excited. I can't believe, well, I can believe it because I set myself up for a plan. But again, sometimes life throws us, all sorts of things that take our crafting plans off, off schedule there, but it is done. So that is blanket number 1 of the Scrappy Blanket Diaries completed. I hope you will continue to stick around because I've got plans for Zelda's blanket. A little tease over here. I'll probably, if you're going to watch the next video, I would imagine you're going to see me in the same getup because I'm going to record the intro for that one shortly. But thank you for everyone who's been following along, for the encouragement. I hope you continue to follow along as I make my way through these scrappy blankets. I guess before I go, speaking of my hand knits here, Musselburgh hat in the Gauge Dye Works Solar System colorway. I've worn this one before. Exoskeleton Cowl by Shana Cohen with some magpie fibers for this main color. And this is a deconstructed faded sock, one part of the sock set from Shirley Bryan Yarn Company. This is the New York cardigan. I don't remember the name of the designer. I made this, gosh, this might predate the Commuter Knitter podcast, or it was in the very early days of the Commuter Knitter podcast. I feel like I made this in like either 2011 or 2012. And I don't remember the name of the designer, but it's a longer, so it covers my bottom, a longer cardigan with this beautiful lace that you knit this piece and then you sew it on. I don't know, it was a pretty fun construction, and I wear this all the time. And this is Madeline Tosh. I think it was like DK Twist, and I don't know if they still have that base, to be honest. It's different than Tosh DK. It's like a tighter spun, and in the winter, I do remember it's Winter Wheat is the name of the colorway. So anyway, yeah, thank you again for following along in this volume of the Scrappy Blanket Diaries. I hope your crafting is treating you well, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye. What do you have? Your new blankie. You're gonna sleep with it tonight? Yeah? Is it little or big? Big. Is it heavy?
Yes.